Hi, my name is Jun Ong. I'm a light artist based in Kuala Lumpur. I used to be an architect and I am now a light artist. A lot of my works are large scale and very spatial light installations. And I'm happy to share my new work with you guys called Krystal Valley. So I'm very excited to reveal my work for the single exhibition at Balai Seni Negara. It's called Krystal Valley. It will be quite a different work that I have created from my past works. It is also a form of light installation, but in this case it's kind of inspired by the world of crystals, which I'm personally very interested in. I'm very fascinated in elements of the earth, and also in this case, things that happen below the soil, right? Which are crystals, gemstones, and the geographical world around it. Yeah. So this installation is called Krystal Valley because I wanted it to be almost like this man-made valley. In this installation, there is no real crystals at all. All the objects that you see throughout this man-made valley are made from man-made materials, right? They consist of found objects that are very personal to me. Some of it are my personal belongings, like photographs, objects from my childhood, and also objects from the community of where I live, right? So for me, it also represents the growth of crystals. If you know a lot about crystals, crystals are almost elements that are frozen in time. It takes millions of years to create crystals, and this is kind of like what inspired the artwork here. Can we take man-made objects, memories, and create this, very urban and man-made kind of object within this valley. Yeah. A lot of my projects, I envision them to be almost like a research journey, right? I wanted to explore a lot more on crystals. That's why I wanted this project to allow myself and also the team to understand this incredible world of crystals. So I think one of the challenges was for us to actually learn about the characteristics of crystals. So we actually managed to speak to some friends who are actually crystal lovers, and also like some of them are crystal miners. They actually mine for crystals in their pastime, right? And also kind of like doing a lot of research on crystals and getting real crystals, studying their textures, their growth habits, their characters, the colors. And also personally, I'm interested into seeing the metaphysical side of crystals, right? Does it have a certain aura? Does it change the way your mood is? So I wouldn't say that was a challenge, but that was a very fun challenge for us and a very eye-opening experience too. I think the other challenge was to actually make all these objects that were inspired by the crystals, right? Because we had to kind of think creatively out of the box. Like I said, some of the crystals are made from different objects that I found within my neighborhood, within my own personal homes and my parents' homes. But also, the other challenge that my team and I had was to actually make these objects. Once we study a lot about crystals, how do we create these interesting objects and do it in our own perception of it, right? So, like I said, using those found objects that we found from our neighborhood, incorporating them into the crystals, but also, creating this experience. I wanted people to have some sort of their own connection with each of these crystals, They always believe that, with crystals, it will find its true owner. Everyone has a different kind of relationship with different crystals. And even though it's a completely man-made experience here, I wanted these objects to have their own relationships with different people also. So I really hope that this installation, Krystal Valley, becomes almost this fantasy, right? This imaginative landscape, that kind of, number one, opens that interest towards crystals. I feel like crystals are fascinating objects. And number two, the way we present it, using architecture, using lights, using sound, would allow people to see crystals in a more imaginative and surrealistic way. Yeah, so I really hope people can find their own almost like connection with each of these objects, and maybe look into closely into these crystals, right? From far you might see it as one landscape, or you would see it as a junkyard. But for me, every corner, every facet, there's a story and there's a sense of memory, within each of these objects. Yeah.